everybody. Welcome to Capital of Combat. Name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Jarrell.
And today we're going to recap this past Saturday's junior welterweight fight in which we had Terrence Crawford defending one of his junior welterweight titles against Crawford-Jean. And they also had the replay of Triple G and Roman Gonzalez's fight from the previous week. But we've already recapped that. Check out that video if you haven't seen it. So for this one, we had Terrence Crawford once again returning to his hometown of Omaha, Nebraska, where he is a star, selling out the arena, and also, from what I read, big ratings on HBO, against Crawford-Jean, who was on a win streak after losing his first title opportunity against Lamont Peterson. Now, we didn't get to do a preview video for this one, but we did put on the Facebook page that we were predicting that Crawford would win a convincing fight. I didn't put decision or knockout, but I was thinking decision. Going into the fight, what were you thinking?
I thought it was going to be a decision, which it looked like it was on its way to being a decision until the 10th round.
Yes. So we're going to go ahead and get into that. Starting from the very beginning of the fight, you got Crawford coming in there, establishing himself as the boss in the ring. He was the bigger guy. He was longer, established his jab, but he was getting caught a few times due to John's quickness. It may have been something that he didn't estimate John having, or maybe, you know, John was able to cut a few angles early on in the fight until Crawford switched southpaw, and it was all downhill from there. What you got, Rob?
Well, if you've watched Terrence Crawford before, you know this guy can go from orthodox to southpaw in an instant. And a lot of his later fights, I guess within the last 6, if you've watched about 5 or 6 fights before this one, that's what he did. He did it against Yuriorkis Gamboa. He did it versus
Ricky Burns.
He didn't really switch so much versus Thomas Delorme.
I don't think he switched at all versus him.
Yeah. So he's an orthodox fighter who can fight in the southpaw sense and do it and not just switch and then switch back. We're talking about a guy who can do it and do it for long stretches, if not the whole fight.
Right.
And when he established his jab from the southpaw stance, that pretty much set up his anything else going on in the fight. And he knocked down Jean in the first round with the right hook.
Then I believe it was the 9th round and the 10th round.
Right, but he had caught him plenty of times with the right hook and following that up with straight left.
Yeah, and most times when you get somebody switching southpaw, their left hand is really inconsequential. But with Crawford, he hurt Jean several times with that straight left hand. He had a little bit more pop in that right, but that left hand was packing a punch too. And he also hurt him several times to the body. Now, the reason he was so effective, besides him being a little accurate, Jean tried to move his head a little bit, but there were little subtle things that Crawford was doing with his feet and his body that made him a little bit more difficult to hit by John. John was able to get right hands in occasionally, but every time he threw it, he was reaching. And a lot of times he was out of position. And what Crawford was doing is something called changing levels. It shouldn't really be advanced stuff, but it is, whereas he's using his legs. And all he's doing, if I'm Crawford and this is John, all he's doing is using his legs and crouching, moving this way, moving that way, take a step. And when John would throw his right hand, all he would do is lean back like that and use his legs, and it was out of the way. And I'm going to switch southpaw because that's how he was. He would just lean back that way and come back, bam! And he was catching him with that all night. It was a beautiful sight to see, and it made him very hard to hit, especially to the body, because when a lot of guys move, they're just moving their upper torso, and their body is still there. Crawford's body was not still there, and he was moving off to the sides, laterally, back, and forward. He was using the entire ring and the entire space within his own range, and that is some high-level boxing stuff right there.
That's right.
So with that, he was able to punish John several times throughout the fight with just strafing him with left hands, right hooks, body shots, uppercuts, I mean, he opened up the whole arsenal on Jean, and his face showed it. You got anything else you want to add?
Well, this was pretty much an audition to see who's going to get that last Pacquiao fight, if I'm not mistaken, in April of 2016. Yeah. He's one of the front runners along with Lucas Matisse, Amir Khan, and kind of think Kell Brook is kind of at the end of that list. But he did make a very good account of himself to get that fight versus Manny Pacquiao. We know Lucas Matisse fought, lost to Postol, still has a good chance because, of course, Golden Boy, Top Rank are working together.
Yeah.
And but Crawford seems to have the best chance. Amir Khan, apparently there was some breakdown in the negotiations.
Who knows when it comes to him?
But we also know that he talks a lot in the media, which he tends to talk himself out of fights. We're not saying that he can't beat Pacquiao. We're not saying that it's not a possibility. We're just saying he probably should have fought somebody by now instead of trying to talk himself into the fight.
Yeah, he's been trying to do that with Mayweather for years. But this is not about Amir Khan. We're talking about Terrence Crawford. So Terrence Crawford, at this point, looks like a very live dog against Manny Pacquiao. Especially the Manny that we've seen since Marquez 4. I give him a very good shot to be competitive in that fight, if not win. His chin will be tested, so I look forward to that fight. I also look forward to see him fighting Victor Postal. Who else is in that division?
Amir Imam, another undefeated contender now. He's not a prospect, he's a contender.
Yeah, he's the mandatory for Victor Postal's title. So those two will probably get it on pretty soon, and the winner of that can fight Crawford if he doesn't fight Pacquiao, or he can fight him in the meantime or immediately after. Either way, those three guys are locked to fight each other. Also, you got Adrian Broner. Even though he's with PBC, they probably won't make that fight, seeing as how Crawford's with Top Rank, and they've only made one fight together in the last 5 or 6 years. And we know which one that was and how hard it was to make that one. So we just got to wait and see what comes next from Crawford. And we're excited to see that. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching this episode. Make sure you like it. Make sure you share it with your friends. If you got anything you want to add, just throw it down below. You can hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Google+, or email CapitalofCombat. The email is capitalofcombat@gmail.com. Hit us up. Anything you want to add, any questions, we put you in the combat mailbag. And we got the technical toolbox coming soon, very soon. So look out for that. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
This is round 1 and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick crime, hurricane, I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.